Located on a lonely island in the middle of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz, nicknamed the Rock, had held criminals since the Civil War. But it was in 1934, during the high point of a major war on crime, that Alcatraz became the world's ultimate maximum security prison. Its eventual inmates included dangerous public enemies like Al Capone and George "Machine Gun" Kelly, criminals who had a history of escapes, and the occasional odd character like the infamous Birdman of Alcatraz. In the 1930s, Alcatraz was already a forbidding place, surrounded by the cold, rough waters of the Pacific. The redesign included tougher iron bars, a series of strategically positioned guard towers, and strict rules, including a dozen checks a day of the prisoners. Escape seemed near impossible. From 1934 until the prison was closed in 1963, 36 men tried to escape from this prison, but nearly all of them were caught or didn't survive. Despite all the odds, 3 particular men were successful in their escape. Or did they? Now, let's see who the 3 escapees were. Frank Morris, abandoned by his parents when he was only 11, spent the rest of his childhood in foster homes, as an orphan. He was convicted of his first criminal offense at 13, and by his late teens had been arrested for crimes ranging from narcotics possession to armed robbery. When Morris was 33 years of age, he was captured during a burglary and sent to Alcatraz. He reportedly ranked in the top 2% of the general population in intelligence, as measured by IQ testing, thus why he was the leader of the escape plan. Brothers, John and Clarence Anglin, were born into a family of 13 children in Georgia. They were reportedly inseparable as youngsters. They became skilled swimmers, and amazed their siblings by swimming in the frigid waters of Lake Michigan as ice still floated on its surface. Clarence was first caught breaking into a service station when he was 14 years old. The brothers began robbing banks and other establishments as a team in the early 1950s, usually targeting businesses that were closed, to ensure that no one got injured. They claimed that they used a weapon only once, during a bank heist, and it was a toy gun. In 1985, John and Clarence Anglin received 35-year sentences after robbing the Columbia Savings Bank building. After repeated attempts to escape from the Atlanta facility, John and Clarence were transferred to Alcatraz. The 3 inmates all knew each other from previous incarcerations in Florida and Georgia. When they were assigned to adjoining cells, they began formulating an escape plan under the leadership of Morris. The group had begun laying plans in December 1961 when one of them came across some old saw blades. Over the subsequent 6 months, they widened the ventilation ducts beneath their sinks using those saw blades found on the prison grounds, metal spoons from the mess hall, and an electric drill improvised from the motor of a vacuum cleaner. The men concealed their work with painted cardboard, and masked the noise with Morris's accordion on top of the ambient din of music hour. Behind the cells was a common, unguarded utility corridor. They made their way down this corridor and climbed to the roof of their cell block inside the building, where they set up a secret workshop. There, taking turns keeping watch for the guards in the evening before the last count, they used a variety of stolen and donated materials to build and hide what they needed to escape. More than 50 raincoats that they stole or gathered were turned into makeshift life preservers and a rubber raft, the seams carefully stitched together and vulcanized by the hot steam pipes in the prison. They also built wooden paddles and converted a musical instrument into a tool to inflate the raft. At the same time, they were looking for a way out of the building. The ceiling was a good 30 feet high, but using a network of pipes they climbed up and eventually pried open the ventilator at the top of the shaft. They kept it in place temporarily by fashioning a fake bolt out of soap. The men concealed their absence while working outside their cells, and after the escape itself, by sculpting dummy heads from a handmade mixture of soap, toothpaste, concrete dust, and toilet paper, and giving them a realistic appearance with paint from the maintenance shop and hair from the barbershop floor. With towels and clothing piled under the blankets in their bunks and the dummy heads positioned on the pillows, they appeared to be sleeping. On the night of June 11, 1962, with all preparations in place, the men initiated their plan. From the service corridor, Morris and the Anglins climbed the ventilation shaft to the roof. Guards heard a loud crash as they broke out of the shaft, but nothing further was heard, and the source of the noise was not investigated. Carrying their gear with them, they descended 50 feet to the ground by sliding down a kitchen vent pipe, then climbed two 12-foot barbed wire perimeter fences. At the northeast shoreline, near the power plant, a blind spot in the prison's network of searchlights and gun towers, they inflated their raft with a concertina stolen from another inmate and modified to serve as a bellows. At some time after 10 p.m., investigators estimated, they boarded the raft, launched it and departed toward their objective, Angel Island, 2 miles to the north. The escape was not discovered until the morning of June 12 due to the successful dummy head trick. Multiple military and law enforcement agencies conducted an extensive air, sea, and land search over the next 10 days. On June 14, a Coast Guard cutter picked up a paddle floating about 200 yards off the southern shore of Angel Island. On the same day and in the same general location, workers on another boat found a wallet wrapped in plastic complete with names, addresses, and photos of the anglin's friends and relatives. On June 21, shreds of raincoat material, believed to be remnants of the raft, were found on a beach not far from the Golden Gate Bridge. The following day, a prison boat picked up a deflated life jacket made from the same material 50 yards off Alcatraz Island. According to the final FBI report, no other physical evidence was found. FBI agents surmised early on that the men had drowned. They cited the fact that the individuals' personal effects were the only belongings they had, and the men would have drowned before leaving them behind. However, no human remains were found at the time. FBI investigators announced their official position that, while it was theoretically possible for the men to have reached Angel Island, the odds of them having survived the turbulent currents and frigid waters of the bay were extremely little. According to the final FBI report, Alan West, an inmate that was helping the escapees with the plan, said that they had planned to steal clothes and a car upon reaching land, but no such thefts were reported in the immediate area. The FBI closed its file on December 31, 1979, after a 17-year investigation. Their official finding was that the prisoners most likely drowned in the cold waters of the bay while attempting to reach Angel Island. They cited the remnants found of the raft, as well as the personal effects of the men, as evidence that the raft broke up and sank at some point and the three fugitives succumbed to hypothermia, with their bodies swept out to sea by the rapid currents of the San Francisco Bay. The mystery still continues to this day. Did the escapees make it across the bay, get to Angel Island, and then cross Raccoon Strait into Marin County as planned? Or did the wind and waves get the better of them? Plenty of people have gone to great lengths to prove that the men could have survived, although the FBI's investigation at the time concluded otherwise. What do you think?